Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to be delivering our protocol number one on the discussion that took place on the 27th concerning the Purloined Letter. So the discussion started with the title of the short story itself being the Purloined Letter. This sort of indicates that the letter is perpetually stolen and is always going to kind of be changing hands instead of as opposed to a Portland letter, which would indicate that it is only lost temporarily. This sort of hints to the intangible aspect of the letter, how the someone in class had remarked that we never really learn what the contents are. That may indicate that the content is actually irrelevant to the story, and instead it's holding symbolic power. This goes into the definitions that Dr. Kim had laid out before about semiotics and figuration. Specifically, semiotics being the study of signs which communicate more than just what they physically are. The letter is sort of falls in this category as we learn it sort of symbolizes as a power. It, because it symbolizes power, it sort of has a desirable factor which causes it to go in a cycle, which is going to be discussed in later slides. I had a picture of this hand pattern as it sort of is an example of semiotics in that it communicates solidarity more than just what it physically is, which is a balled up hand. Going into the character of Dupin as the main action taker in the story. So first, Dr. Kim identifies that Dupin is a vehicle for change and to communicate a message. Importantly, he is not a real person. So the question kind of becomes, what sort of message does it communicate? Well, the most obvious contrast in the whole story is with the perfect. Both him and the perfect set out to steal the letter, yet only he succeeds. The perfect is using a police methodology, and he sort of comes to this conclusion, which we would all agree with on face value, which is that the letter is nearby and he must have hidden it somewhere deep in his room because it should not be found. However, due to due to Dupin's out the box thinking, he comes up with a solution which just sort of sounds ridiculous at first, which is that the letter is actually in the open in the office because that would be the last place that that the police would look. And we understand that Dupin might be able to hold this opinion due to him being an outsider. What that means is that he does not hold a position of power in the society. He is not a king, queen, minister, or head of police. In fact, he is described only as an amateur detective. So Dupin feeds into the cycle of the letter. So let's expand on that. We expand on that a little bit more. Below is the diagram that Dr. Kim had drawn concerning the handoff of the letter. So take your attention to two triangles. On the left, you have the king, the queen, and the minister. Specifically, the king is sort of blind to the letter that is being given by the queen, and the letter is sort of representing here power, virtue, and honor. The minister then actually takes the letter, steals it from the queen into his office, and then he is common in both triangles. And from there, Dupin will steal it from the minister and will deliver it to the perfect, and then will deliver that back to the queen. Notice the important parallel here that the perfect and king are both sort of blind as to the contents of the letter. Also, these are two opposing scenes. The first triangle takes place in the palace, in the royal court, whereas the second scene all takes place it all takes place in the minister's office. So not only is there a cyclical nature in that it returns to the queen before being stolen by the minister, it is also a parallel nature in that dupe and the minister both steal it. The perfect king and the perfect and king are both blind to the letter. So the biggest takeaway point I found would be ratiocination. So from our discussion, we realized that ratiocination is the methodology of thinking employed by Dupin. I thought it sounded pretty similar to rationalization. So we kind of were wondering, in my group at least, what could be the difference between the two. So ratiocination is actually arriving at a conclusion through a series of logical thoughts. This is opposed to rationalization, which is essentially having a belief or assumption about something, and then letting that guide your thinking. Whereas in one, you have an open mind and you come up with an organic solution. In rationalization, you're doing the opposite, and you are sort of fitting these new facts into what you already believe to be true. This has large implications for close reading, because for future readings in the course, it would be helpful to use ratiocination and try to come up with a logical train of thought, as opposed to coming in with pre-held notions of the literature. So finally, making sense of the overall theme of the text. So first, there's we kind of witnessed a applications for in class and out of class. So in class, we sort of understand that through this illustration that what we're doing is a study of semiotics. Literally, anytime we do a literary close reading, we're just looking for what the signs are pointing to, what is sort of beneath the underneath, and we can approach semiotics through ratiocination by looking at things through a logical train of thought and by keeping an open mind. Out of class, we discuss implications in the news. So, opinions versus facts. Specifically, in rationalization, you might be tempted to change the facts to fit your opinions, but in ratiocination, you're sort of ordered to change the opinions to fit the facts. I thought this epigraph would be a really important. Basically, summarizes the whole presentation, and that nothing is more hateful to wisdom than excessive cleverness. Excessive cleverness is sort of the take that the perfect uses, in that he underestimates the minister. However, Dupin, who is a character in more wisdom, does not underestimate the minister, and therefore is able to finally obtain the letter. And these are credits for images used. Thank you.